My name is Joe. These are just opinions. I am Joepinionated. Welcome to the 25 best albums of 1995. So 25 different albums. Playlist in the description and on the channel. Top 100 songs from 1995. Channel's called Joepinionated. Number 25 is a 4-star album. I'm going with Porcupine Tree's album, The Sky Moves Sideways. It's progressive rock from a British band. Richard Barbieri, Stephen Wilson, Chris Maitland, Colin Edwin, progressive rock with ambient space rock, incredibly intricate, not for everybody. Number 25, Porcupine Trees, The Sky Moves Sideways. Number 24 from Ben Harper, Fight for Your Mind from Ben Harper at number 24. There's an odd mix on this album. It's really kind of like bass heavy and sounds great in the car. My buddy Tristan's Daytona pumping this one, the 2.2 liter turbo. Ben Harper slays on the guitar and the lap steel, a blend of soul and surfer pop at the time. It was kind of like the surf beach Bedouin sound clash, Jack Johnson kind of vibes out there, and Ben Harper was really a catalyst for that sort of stuff, and he produced Jack Johnson. I'm pretty sure he discovered Jack Johnson, so have a nice copy on wax, and I do suggest getting this one on wax. Number 23, I'm going with one of the first sort of techno albums to hit the charts on this channel for the 25 best on Joepinionated YouTube and YouTube Music. Going with the Chemical Brothers and the album Exit Planet Dust. Ed Simons, Tom Rowlands. I'm pretty sure they were actually called the Dust Brothers before they came over, but the Dust Brothers had that name already, or there was some sort of confusion with them in the early days, and they got that all worked out. And I think they switched their name to the Chemical Brothers, I think, or vice versa, I forget. Chemical Brothers, number 23. That's another 4-star album, I believe. Yeah, 4-star album. Okay, number 22, Canadian, Alanis Morissette, Jagged Little Pill. The You Oughta Know thing about, what is it again? Dave Coulier? Dave Coulier? God, I can't remember his name. Anyways, the guy from America's Funniest People and Full House, Uncle Joey. You Oughta Know, written about, I guess, their breakup or their relationship. What can I say? Alanis Morissette, super famous Canadian, blew up huge. You know, I'm in high school at this point. This album was massive, and so is Alanis Morissette. Obviously, I'm from Canada, so I've seen lots of her. I remember Alanis Morissette. I used to watch You Can't Do That on television as a little kid, and that was a hilarious show here. I can't remember if it was on YTV or if YTV was even around at that point, but early television in Canada. The Edison Twins was another great show that I used to watch, and I just love that theme song. Top 10 theme songs all time. Edison Twins. Look it up. Canada. Canadian. Great show too. Alanis Morissette. Yeah, we all like Alanis up here north of the border. Number 21, another 4-star album, I'm assuming, 4 or greater. Neil Young, Mirrorball. This is the one that Neil Young did with Pearl Jam. So Eddie Vedder, Mike McCready. And this is kind of getting into a room and going. I mean, Neil Young invented grunge, pioneer of grunge. Having these guys, Pearl Jam alongside Neil Young, pretty good combination in 1995. I don't think there's much else that needs to be said. You know, I'm pretty sure it was recorded really fast and get into a room like Neil Young likes to do and throw a mic in there and hop to it. Number 20, going with the rap album. Naughty by Nature's Poverty's Paradise. We've mentioned Vin Rock and Tretch on the channel a few times now. It's, I believe, the 3rd album that's made it to the top 25. I didn't really grow up with this stuff. This was just me ranking the albums later on. Another really good album. Number 19, I'm going with Filter. Filter and their album from 1995, Short Bus. I mean, what's not to like on this album? It's straightforward. Kind of reminds me a bit of Live, you know, the band Live, where Filter they got a lot of really cool songs. And number 18, Shania Twain, The Woman in Me. This one really put Shania Twain obviously on the map. It's just one of those things where it's just overnight, every wedding from this point until the end of time will feature Shania Twain. I don't think it's possible to now go to a wedding without Shania Twain and the Chicken Dance. Those are the only 2 guarantees. From this moment, as long as I live, I will love you. Like, it was like half the songs became wedding songs. I love the earlier albums, especially this one, The Woman in Me. No One Needs to Know is such a great modern country classic. With her partner, Mutt Lange, believing in her and producing this one. And songwriting as well, this just perfect. Great album. Shania Twain, Canadian superstar. Shania Twain, wow. We might have more Canadians so far on this list than Americans. So, number 17, rap album, rap with musicians, The Roots, Do You Want More, Black Thought, Questlove on drums, Wall on keyboards, Leonard Hubbard on bass, Malik B vocals. What's not to like about The Roots? Number one thing that, I'm just going to be honest with you here. One thing about rap music, live rap music, I'm not crazy about it. Beastie Boys was incredible. Kid Koala, watching that guy spin Wheels of Steel. And I'll honestly give it to DJ Jazzy Jeff. He's incredible too to watch. But for whatever reason, I get a little bit bored at rap shows. I like to see people play. And The Roots being, the band. I think that, even on the Super Bowl halftime shows and stuff like that, I think have The Roots out there too. I think that just makes the dynamic that much different and cool. That's what I like about The Roots. Great singing, rapping, and one of the best bands, pound for pound bands in the world of The Roots. Yeah. And number 16, same year, one of the best guitar players of all time, Prince, and his album The Gold Experience. Check out my channel for the Prince deep dive, where I listen to every Prince album and rank them all. Called 25 Best Prince, but I think I ranked 39 or 41, I forget what it was, right around the 40. And what did I realize watching that? Prince, guitar, number one, like just one of the greatest guitar players of all time. Got falsetto singing, and yeah, I like it. I'm a huge Ween fan, and Ween's, a lot of it is kind of, an homage to Prince, a lot of songs, and that's sort of what got me into it. Gold Experience is one of the better ones later on. Number 15, we're going with Emmylou Harris, Wrecking Ball. This one was brought to the album of the week in a Discord for Taste Like Music. So shout out to whoever put that one in there. Wasn't really on my radar. Emmylou Harris is great. I haven't listened to all of her albums, but really enjoyed this one. I'm pretty sure it was my number one album from the Album of the Week series. Emmylou Harris, Wrecking Ball, beautiful album. Number 14, Elliott Smith. I believe it's self-titled, but I could be wrong, 1995. Elliott Smith does the piano, guitars, vocals, a singer-songwriter. This one has Clementine on it. This is sort of like a breakthrough album for a guy that kind of came into the world for a little while, or into celebrity for a while, and had kind of a tragic exit, much like Lane Staley, much like Kurt Cobain. So pretty dark albums from this guy. I find it a bit on the depressing side. I think he's a really cool songwriter. Elliott Smith, I'm going number 14. Self-titled. Number 13, I'm pretty sure she's Icelandic, Björk. Her album Post is the one featuring Army of Me, and this is what I think of when I think of Björk. I really liked this album when it came out. I remember really liking the videos and thought she was kind of a cool, mythical kind of character and singer, songwriter, composer, and I think around this time is where I like her most. Number 12, rap album Mobb Deep. The album is The Infamous. It's a hip-hop duo from Queensbridge, New York. Pretty sure that's where Nas is from too, no? Nas is always talking about Nas. Anyways, the duo of Prodigy and Havoc. Hardcore, gangster rap, dark, gritty lyrics. Number 11, going with Genius, Jizza, Liquid Swords. This album has RZA, Inspector Deck, other members of Wu-Tang Clan on it, but this is where Jizza gets out on his own and makes one of the hip-hop classic, really. Liquid Swords, thanks to Joe for showing me this album. I own it ever since, and what is it, Shaolin, what is the movie playing throughout it? Is it 36 Chambers? Or is it Shogun? I can't remember. It's something like Shaolin. Oh, man. Really cool storytelling, cinematic production, a concept rap album. Number 10, I'm going with Ben Folds 5, and their debut album, I believe it's self-titled as well. That's Robert Sledge on bass and backing vocals, Darren Jesse on drums, backing vocals, Ben Folds 5 on piano and vocals. Ben Folds 5. A little bit of Tom and Mary. Big Brother Got the Keys. I Got Jackson's Cannery. Boxing is a great song off this album. Philosophy. Ben Folds 5. They kill for three albums straight. And this is the first of the 3 great albums from Ben Folds 5. Number 9. The second album, I believe, from The Verve. And it's called A Northern Soul. They're a Brit pop rock band. Same time ilk as Oasis, but I think with better songs. I like their albums way more personally than Oasis. That's just me. Northern Soul features History, one of their best tracks, and psychedelic rock. Have I done a Verve episode on this channel? That's a good question. I don't know if I have. I should do a Verve episode deep dive on this channel because I do like the Verve. Number 8, we go with Everclear, Sparkle, and Fade. This album was huge. Heroin Girl, Santa Monica, Heartspark, Dollar Sign, Everclear were massive in 1995 when they broke out on the scene. This album just turned up everywhere. Santa Monica was such a huge hook. You couldn't help but like these guys. And they released a few good albums in a row right after this as well. So this is the first big one. And, everybody had this. This was around on CD before you get your music off the internet. This is pre-getting music off the internet. That didn't come in for another 4 years or so after this point. This is right when the internet first came out, was this year. 1995, 1994. So when, people would actually started to get it. But 1995 was really the year when, you saw it way more. So every school, everybody had it. Shout out to my sister as well. She definitely had that album. She gets mad when I don't point out that she had this album. So I probably heard it, my sister's copy. Number 6. My sister didn't have this album. It's the Odds, called Good Weird Feeling. Odds, Good Weird Feeling. Odds, Canadian band. They live very close to me now, or a few of them do anyways, here on Vancouver Island. This album has about 5 or 6 songs that I've listened to death. And so check out my playlist on the channel for this. They're just like catchy, fun, great tunes. I always say like Tom Petty. Just easy to listen to, like the Wilburys or something like that. The Odds are just catchy. They were opening, I believe, for the Rolling Stones at one point. They've had some big years on them in the past that have kind of understood how great they are. So Odds, they're called Odds. Number 5, going with Blind Mellon, their album Soup. This is the one that features Lemonade, and I think it's the closing track, probably my favorite track on the album. That's Shannon Hoon, Christopher Thorne, Roger Stevens, Brad Smith, Glenn Graham, and I hope they release more Blind Mellon stuff. I'm sure there's got to be live shows, got to be all kinds of good stuff out there. I hope they release more of it because we can use more Blind Mellon. It's the kind of album that you put on and you listen to the whole thing. Number 4 comes from Mad Season. The album is Above. It's another one with Mike McCready, John Baker Sanders, Barrett Martin, Lane Staley. Grunge, blues rock, heavy, melancholic tones, soulful, introspective. Number 3, a very important album as well from Radiohead, The Bends. Unless you're a big Pablo Honey fan, which a lot of people are, I'm not. I start my worship of Radiohead with The Bends in 1995, Fake Plastic, the whole thing. And this is basically they go on a run from now till In Rainbows. I really like the stuff that Tom York and Johnny Greenwood put out with Smile, especially their second album of last year, Cutouts. Radiohead, The Bends, Fake Plastic Trees, High and Dry, they just, or for me, it was watching a music video for Fake Plastic Trees. I just realized I was a fan. And when OK Computer came out a couple of years later, things got pretty serious. So number 3, I'm going with Radiohead, The Bends. Number 2, another band I love, Alice in Chains. They're self-titled. It's the one with the dog, with the 3-legged dog on the cover there. Self-titled. Mike Inez, Sean Kinney, Jerry Cantrell, Lane Staley, Alice in Chains. This album rocks, along with every album that these guys made in the 90s. They all rock. And this one finishes at number 2. Did we have one come in at number 1 before? Maybe. We definitely had one coming close. Number 2 from Alice in Chains. I'm obviously clearly a fan. Lane Staley shows up in the top 5 albums twice. Number 2, Alice in Chains. Number 1, I'm going to Collective Soul and their debut. I believe it's self-titled. This album had so many incredible hits on it. Gel, Heaven Let Your Light Shine Down, Collection of Goods, Collective Soul. This album was huge. I think they made one more good album after this. Got no problem with these guys. And I'm giving them the number 1 album of 1995. I probably listened to this album more than any of the other albums on the list. Come to think of it, that CD got spun a lot. And probably thanks to my sister, because I'm pretty sure it was her copy. So once again, my sister was an influence on the music I was listening to at this time. I remember just listening to the CD a lot, especially early days of the computer, the internet, a little Ghetto Blaster CD player beside the computer, and this is one of the CDs I was spinning a lot at the time, because you could just put it on and listen to the whole thing. You didn't actually have to get up and switch tracks or anything like that. It was a great album through and through, the whole thing. Many hours of Sim Tower and early days of building websites back in Angel Fire and free websites like that. So Collective Soul, their debut, 1995's number 1 album. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff. Remember to be normal, live and let live. Sorry I'm a little low on facts and high on opinions. Catch you on the next one. We out.